Welcome, everyone, to another podcast with the Center for Asian American Christianity. My name is David Chao, and I direct the center. And today it is my privilege and pleasure to introduce my guest, Father Joe Cheah. Hi, Joe.
Hi, David. Thank you for inviting me to this podcast.
I just want to read the bio that I had written up so people can get to know you a little bit. Um, Father Joseph Cheah, OSM PhD, is professor of religious studies and theology and chair of the Department of Philosophy, Theology, and Religious Studies. In the classroom, Father Joe sees himself as a co-learner, drawing on his unique perspectives as both an Asian American and a religious priest to collaborate with students in pursuit of deeper insight and understanding. Father Joe's scholarship spans Asian American religions and theology, Buddhist studies, world Christianity, and the intersections of race and religion. Father Joe, again, we're so happy to welcome you to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My apology for not making to your conference over the weekend. I was busy all that time.
Well, yeah, I heard you're teaching like 5 classes this semester.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh my goodness. Well, the mental health conference that we just hosted, it was really, really rich. We had 2 days worth of material, great speakers. We were talking about navigating life transitions. We spoke about our migration and racialization histories. And so a lot of what my center does, we examine racialization, especially with respect to Asians in America. And this is why your 2023 book published by Orbis titled Anti-Asian Racism is so timely. So I'd love to just spend the next, this podcast learning about your reasons for writing the book, what the book is saying, and what kind of takeaways you hope the audience learns from the book. So maybe we could just begin with what got you interested in the topic of your book?
A number of reasons. In 2018, United States Conference Catholic Bishops, all the Catholic bishops come together. They talk about issues related to American Catholic in the United States. They publish 2 documents. One is called Pastoral Letter Against Racism. The other one is called the Pastoral Response. And I was disappointed in the document in that, in the pastoral letter, the struggles and experiences of AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islanders, were completely absent. And that was, to me, that was a major oversight, considering the alarming rates of anti-Asian hate and violence that occur in recent years. By ignoring the history and experience of AAPI, the pastoral letter inadvertently reinforces a sense of invisibility that many in AAPI community felt and have experienced. And that's probably one of the major reasons why I wrote this book. The second is that I'm interested in Asian American study since I was a freshman in college. I remember going to USC, University of Southern California. I would go to the university bookstore, stand in front of the Asian American study book section, and read one book after another. For the first time in my life, I was reading a book that the author actually had me in mind. So I was fascinated
Yes.
by it.
Yes.
And the third thing it was that during the COVID crisis, I think it was St. Anselm College contacted me, and they said that Russell Juan gave me my name to ask me to speak about the Chinese virus. So I did. I accepted it, the invitation, and so Russell, in a sense, lit fire under my feet. And they're moving on their stuff. So I decided to write something about anti-Asian racism in relation to the pastoral letter and pastoral response. And as you know, I'm in a very in a teaching-oriented college, a university, and my teaching load is very heavy. And so it's almost impossible to write anything while I'm teaching. So I had a 1 semester sabbatical that year. So I spent the semester, I wrote the whole thing in 1 semester. and I got it done, and I give it to Orbis. The publisher held it for over a year, and the reason
Oh,
being is it's a supply chain issue due to COVID-19. Uh, During that
interesting.
time, I actually rewrote my manuscript. It's much more clearly, some of the gaps you see in my book right now, all have been corrected. But they won't accept my revised manuscript because my older one
Oh no!
gone through copy editing. They don't want to spend extra money again. So, so what you got is not my final manuscript, but anyway, I got it done in time. That's the reason why I wrote the book.
Wow, that's tremendous. I'm so glad we can give a shout out to our dear colleague and friend Russell Jung. I remember in February, this has got to be 2020. He was on a plane to Princeton to speak at an event I was hosting, and he was collecting accounts of anti-Asian hate that
Mhm,
began cropping up across America right as COVID was incipient.
mhm, mhm,
And then he said at the conference, because he lost that file while he was working on his laptop or something, um, and his lecture was on the kind of the 50-year anniversary of Asian American studies and what Asian American theology can learn from that. And it's one of the most popular videos by the CAAC. You can find it on YouTube with PTS's YouTube channel. But that's what sort of started the Stop AAPI Hate organization and its kind of digital public platform, collecting and making visible, to your point, the kinds of anti-Asian racism experienced by our community. So
mhm, mhm.
I want to, thank you, Joe, for uh, pushing through your sabbatical to write this book. Um, I wanna head back and just pick up some biographical context. You mentioned the USC library. Did you grow up in Southern Cal?
I did. I actually grew up in the city, so I'm one of the few Asian American actually grew up in a predominant black neighborhood.
Interesting. And since that college period, you've had this real keen interest and commitment to Asian American studies. I know this is appropriate just to give a shout out to APARI. This is a
Mhm,
beloved community of Asian American religion scholars that you and I both
mhm.
belong to, and this is where, in fact, you shared a copy of
Yes,
your
yep,
book this
yep.
past summer at APARI.
Yeah, the part was a major influence in my professional career. Obviously, Russell Join instrumental in providing resources, and he was very good at looking over my stuff, my draft, and he gave response to me even on his holiday. So and other people too, like people like Timothy Song, who could give tremendous help in terms of providing resources for the historical section of my book, and he also looked over some of my stuff, and the Tammy Ho, who read the first chapter, my initial draft of chapter one, and Janelle Wong, who helped me, kind of we talk we do about the theoretical section of my minority myth aspect of my book, and so a lot of people helped me, and including the Dr. John Polakowski, my confrere in my religious community, who
Mm.
give me some hint about Catholic social teaching and things like that.
I love it. It takes, scholars live in community, and these conversations and these relationships are the kind of lifeblood that gives us inspiration and kind of helps us in our thought process and
Mhm,
writing
mhm.
process. I'm so encouraged to hear of the rich community that has supported your scholarship, Joe. Um, I'm curious, what was the easiest or most enjoyable part of the book to write?
Surprisingly, it was toward the end of my writing my manuscript. I finally started writing about Jesus as the perpetual foreigner. To me, that was the easiest
Interesting.
and most enjoyable part. I, s- I, s- no, to the best of my knowledge, no one has wrote something about that. So the notion of perpetual foreigner probably wasn't in the social location of many of the biblical scholars. because it's not part of their, their social location. So for me, it's very clear when I read the history, the story of Jesus in the Synoptic Gospel. I can see Jesus is very much familiar with being a foreigner, with being an outsider. That's the easy, to me, a most enjoyable section. The idea that Jesus grew up in this backwater town of Nazareth, and it doesn't take much imagination to conclude that he probably spoke Aramaic with a Galilean accent, because that's where he grew up. And so he has the kind of experience that many Asian immigrants in the United States had, in terms of people making fun of your accent and things like that. And the fact that he has experienced being object of laughter and ridicule, that's part of it. We see that in the Passion narrative. You also, uh, so it's not surprising that we find in the gospel, uh, Jesus made a foreigner the hero in his parable about the Good Samaritan, and that he told his disciple uh, not to prevent a man from casting demon using his name, just because he was an outsider. So all these things, come together for me, that he knows our experience very well, even though we live in a totally different culture and time and history. Jesus is very much aware of similar things that we are going through, that he had gone through in his time.
That's fantastic. It showcases how you engage scripture as well as theology from your social
Mhm.
location. I'm curious, when you teach, whether it's theology or biblical studies or philosophy, how do you weave in social location of your students, of yourself, into your teaching process?
Well, for my student, with the emergence of AI, one way for me to tell is whether they're doing their own work. Is to I ask them to say something about social location, so they have to write about themselves. They're not copying stuff from somewhere else. So
The social location of AI is in the cloud. That's not going to work for you.
I can compare and say, yeah, your second paper is very polished. It's totally different from your first paper. But it's good to know where we're coming from. We live in an age of time where the notion of what they call the impartial observer doesn't exist anymore. We 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 influence everything we do. You know, whether we're a researcher, we are just what a student, whatever we do. I think reflexivity is a good thing.
So, we asked about what was easiest or most enjoyable. So, I'm going to ask the flip side.
Mhm.
What was the hardest part of the book to write?
The hardest part of the book to write was writing about the violent incident that some of the API experience. It's hard because the scene and the people they are talking about, I know, I have many friends and relatives that, for example, live in San Francisco, Chinatown, around the area. And I know that some of them are afraid to go out of their homes. They're afraid to do the kind of things they need to do in order to survive, in order to live a happy and fulfilled life. They're afraid to go to the grocery store to pick up food, to go to pharmacy to pick up their meds, take the public transport to keep their doctor's appointment. And they were even afraid to walk around the neighborhood they normally do before COVID, or go into the park, play mahjong, things like that, for fear that they might be verbally harassed or physically assaulted. And this fear was not unfounded. You look at all the incidents that took place around that time, and numbers of violent assault against the elders and women. So this is what makes the virus of hate and racism that accompany COVID-19 so despicable and dangerous. So that's the part the tougher one for me to write.
I totally can understand that. So, Joe, we had a little bit of audio difficulties, but we've re-engaged. You were describing the difficult aspect of narrating these stories and cases of anti-Asian hate. You have known people personally. I have known people personally during COVID, especially. I'm also thinking about Filipino American nurses. April Manalong and Christian Gloria and I are doing research on their experiences of racism as frontline healthcare workers during COVID, and
Mhm.
how their stories have not been very
Mhm.
visible or legible. Um, I'm I'm curious, where is the University of St. Joseph located? What city are you in?
We're in West Hartford, Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Uh,
During COVID, did you yourself encounter any cases or experiences of?
no, it seems like in cities that where there are fewer Asian American, there are less harassment going on than in the city where there was a large population of Asian American, like San Francisco and Los Angeles, places like those.
I gotcha. So in the Hartford area, not too many Asians.
No, no, not too many, no.
Yeah, interesting. Um, Pivoting back to your book,
Mhm.
what's the main idea of your book?
Well, the main thesis of my book is reckoning with the invisibility of API experience history in the Bishop Pastoral Letter Against Racism and the Bishop Pastoral Response. So those are two documents that came out from USCCB, the United States Catholic Bishop, in 2018. The document, the pastoral letter, had nothing to say about AAPI. But the other document, pastoral response, has a minor mention of anti-Asian racism in it. But the language used to talk about that trivializes the experience itself. So let me give you an example. Uh, in the document, it says the racist experience API based on language and I'm quoting here, language and physical appearance can sometimes be negative. My answer is no, no. If it's racism and based on language, for example, people making fun of your accent based on physical appearance, people uttering racial slurs at you, telling you go back to where you came from, or physically assaulting you for the way you look, it's always negative. It can sometimes be negative. Uh, this is what happened when the document is not peer review by expert. Uh, the use of that kind of a qualifying word like can and sometime give the impression that API experience racism is now widespread systemic. In other words, it minimizes the pervasive and systemic nature of anti-Asian racism. You find that throughout that document. Let me give you maybe a couple more examples. In the document, it says something like, "While the experience of racism is not exclusive to any one ethnic group, there are two important examples in Asian American history: the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act and the Japanese American incarceration. But the problem is that this is mentioned in passing, provide no context in one single sentence. And there are many problems with this sentence. The initial clause, the coordinating clause, while the experience racism is not unique to any ethnic group, two examples. The initial clause gives the impression that the two pivotal events in Asian American history are example of ordinary racism, and rather than a profound experience rooted in white supremacy. That's the problem in the, both documents. They avoid using the term even white privilege. Then you can't find it. Certainly, the white supremacy will not be there. By by ignoring, not naming it, and not confronting the ideology behind it, the pastoral letter in response misses opportunity for deeper understanding and meaningful engagement with the roots of anti-Asian racism. Another example in the document, pastoral response correctly states that the moral minority myth has made AAPI invisible in the politics of American racial discourses. In other words, when issue about race, diversity, equity comes up, the focus generally is on Black and Brown communities. And you can see why, because poverty is visibly noticed in those communities. And there's undeniable experience of systemic racism and historical injustices that these people in this community experience. Asian Americans are seen as moral minority. So we've seen as that people are successful, law-abiding, and assimilating in American society, which conveniently makes our struggle and experience of racism invisible. And this is harmful and dangerous because you look at the income of various groups within the Asian American category. The Asian Indian had high income, surprisingly followed by Filipino Americans. And at the lower end, you have the Hmong, the Burmese, Bhutanese, Mongolians, whose income are less than Black and Brown people. So when you lump these smaller groups with lower income with minority myth, their needs are met. So that's the problem. While the document correctly states that minority myth had contributed to the invisibility of AAPI in American racial politics, it failed to examine the underlying ideology that sustained this myth. So that you see this type of problem throughout the document. So that's one area that I find. Another area is historical area that I looked at in my book. Historical in relation to the pandemic, the idea of Asian American as a disease carrier is not new. We can trace back all the way to even before the first significant group of Asians came to the United States, and that would be the Chinese in the mid 19th century. Even before they came here, they were already been stereotyped as depraved heathens, opium addicts, disease carrier, and other negative stereotypes. And what COVID-19 has done is to bring to the surface the sins of our past, these negative stereotypes that we have not adequately dealt with, or we dismiss it completely. And that's what makes the COVID-19 so dangerous. And this negative stereotype or sin of past persists to this day. It shows up when somebody uttered racial slur, ethnic slur at us. It shows up when somebody said, go back to where you come from, and things like that. And so that in that historical section, I dealt with these issues. The third section in my book deal with Catholic social teaching, how the principle of Catholic social teaching can apply to understand and analyze the anti-Asian racism. For example, if you take the example I just gave about the historical aspect, some of the people will push back against the notion of equating Chinese or those who look like Chinese as carrier virus, and there are Asian Americans and European Asian who push back against this European depiction, and they did that by at the heart of the pushback is a protest against that ridiculous idea that just because when COVID-19 first appeared in Wuhan, China, that then every Chinese, all 1.5 billion Chinese across the world, are infected with this virus. And this pushback is kind of summarized in the political slogan, "My ethnicity is not a virus." And that slogan, "My ethnicity is not a virus," comes from or receives its inspiration from the French Asian who initiated a community resistance against anti-Asian violence on public transportation in France. And they did that by coming out with hashtag I'm not a virus. I'm not a virus is not only a resisting against anti-Asian racism, but at a deeper level, is challenging the idea of dehumanizing human being, in this case, Asian American, by equating us with a virus. And from the teaching standpoint, this is challenged against the idea of taking away our dignity. It violates the fundamental principle of Catholic social teaching that respect the dignity of the human person. And it says no one, absolutely no one, can take away our dignity that comes from being created in the image and likeness of God. So in that fashion, I employ the principle of Catholic social teaching to talk about what happened at the COVID-19 pandemic. So this example of human dignity, other example as well. Those are three main sections that in my book that focuses on the critique of the, especially the pastoral response, the historical aspect, and also the Catholic social teaching, using its principle to talk about anti-Asian racism, and his framework to basically discuss how to even deal with some of these issues.
Joe, would you say this is the primary, if not only, work published that intersects Catholic thought with anti-Asian racism? Do you know of any other work like that?
No, I think this is the only one. So
Yeah,
somebody mentioned that too. I think. Oh yeah, it was Raymond Chao also mentioned that. Yeah, he couldn't find any other work that
I
I'm
think,
the one.
to my knowledge, this is the only work that engages anti-Asian racism with Catholic social teaching.
Mhm.
I love the granular analysis of your reading the USCCB documents from 2018. You said it was a pastoral letter and a response. Are those the two documents?
Yeah, there are two different documents. So the pastoral response is something like 58 pages long, and it's like like kind of footnote. They added slightly over one page talk about racism explained by AAPI, and probably because they didn't say anything about it in pastoral letter.
So let me just follow up for our non-Catholic viewers. We can try to explain the significance and authority of these official promulgations from the USCCB.
The pastoral letter against racism is a document addressing racism.
Okay,
That's
gotcha.
that's the focus. And because there was nothing mentioned about AAPI in that document, the second document is not about racism at all. It's mainly dealing with the more like the cultural aspect of Asian American, Asian Pacific American in the United States, their generation and things like that. But they sort of a page and a half on anti-Asian racism. Maybe they did it because nothing was said in the pastoral letter, but the insertion was too small and problematic in many areas. I suppose the idea is to let people know that the Asian API also explain racism, but the way that they explained it, they actually perpetuated that notion of anti-Asian racism.
Why? Why do you think the pastoral letter on racism did not address anti-Asian racism? How do you explain for that from their perspective?
I think is I see that this document as is not cutting edge. They're doing it because they have to do it. It's the reaction to Charlottesville, and they have to come up with a document about racism. The last one, 40 years ago, and when they did it, they maybe followed the cue in the public society, in Asian American always get ignored when the issue of race comes up. So maybe they decided not to include Asian American Pacific Islander in the pastoral letter. I don't know the exact reason, but to me, it seems like they are followers and trailblazer. They're not going to do something that they don't see in the society at large are doing, and so I think that's one of the reason why it was ignored. I know I can't read the mind of the bishops. I'm just guessing, and when a document comes from the Pope, it's called encyclical from a bishop, either one or many bishops, in this case, many bishops. It's called pastoral letter. They are considered, as you said, authoritative official teaching. So I'm critiquing authoritative teaching from my platform as a scholar. And my critique and those others are part of what is called Catholic social thought. So Catholic social thought is basically done by a scholar expert, and we are not our work are not seen as authoritative in the same sense as the pastoral letter and the encyclical, because Catholic believe especially the Pope is the descendant of Saint Peter, and so our authority, that doesn't mean that we don't have any authority at all. Our authority rests in our expertise in our respective discipline. So that's how it works. So
So
it's better to when a Catholic or whoever reads a pastoral letter, it's best to read some stuff from Catholic social thought. It gives you a more rounded understanding what's been discussed. So that's my contribution to Catholic social thought. My initial intention was to give a supplement to the pastoral response and pastoral letter, since they have very little to say about AAPI.
I really I want to pick up the question of authority, because how Roman Catholics understand authority is going to be different from how Protestants understand
Mhm.
authority. And so you began to delineate some of the authority structures, namely, you're not a bishop, you're a scholar, but you are legitimately part of Catholic social teaching, which involves the official magisterial structures with the scholarly commentary. So the book you're taking, are you taking off your collar and putting on your mantle as a professor? Is that one way to look at it? Another way to ask the question is, did you get blowback from your fellow Roman Catholic peers? Like, Joe, you shouldn't have said that. You know, that's sensitive. You're criticizing the authority structures. Like, how much freedom or not, if you're in, like how much authority or not do you have to criticize the USCCB's pastoral letter?
I think not. I mean, I didn't get blowback from the church. I think that they understand that that's my role as a scholar, to look critically at these things. Uh, the blowback may come from ordinary Catholic, who are very pious. This is the only way to do it. You have to follow the church teachings. That blowback may come. How can you do stuff? I mean, how can you have the courage to say these things, the things like that? But these Catholics do not understand the role of the intellectual within the church tradition. The church always maintains the faith and reason are complementary. They're not opposite to each other, and it's normal. For example, when the Pope comes out with encyclical, the Catholic experts around the world began to look at this teaching, examine teaching, and apply it to the specific context. And they will critique it and things like that. That's just normal. I mean, they expect that. So it's in this day and age. I mean, and let's just say something that completely contrary to the church's teaching. I don't think that we blow back.
I'm curious, in the recent time of its reception, how have people responded both in the church, outside of the church, Roman Catholics, non-Roman Catholics? What's been sort of the response to your book?
The response to me, no, overwhelmingly good. The only people who are difficult, even those who are difficulty, come to my talk, they only say in private, in that, yeah, you got courage to challenge the teaching of the church. But again, they're coming from perspective I never understand it of Catholicism. Um, but overwhelmingly in my talk, let's say at parish level, I remember at the St. Anne Church, I was talking about this issue about my book, and then one of the Asian American audience began to share. Now, I too experienced that sense of being perpetual foreigner, and then lo and behold, all 10 of them, one after another, began to share. It become a listening session for the general audience, which was powerful because that's what they need to hear. Not just from me, but other people from a similar background saying that they have the same experience as well, a similar experience of being treated as a foreigner. So that was a powerful experience. So it's been accepted quite well, especially in the circle where people who does social justice issue and things like that.
When you were doing your research, did your research reveal something surprising that you didn't expect or know?
It did. It did. A couple of things. One is the complicity of the Catholic Church with the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act. When I say complicity, I don't mean what the Catholic Church did or contributed to the act. What I mean is what the Catholic Church did not do. Because the Catholic Church in the 19th century, around the time of Exclusion Act, was immigrant church, persecuted church. So they didn't have a bishop, national bishop organization as we do today that we call USCCB. So any lobbying against Congress to oppose the Exclusion Act has to be done by individual bishop. And it appears that no Catholic bishop took a critical stand to oppose, say, exclusion prior to the enactment of the Exclusion Act. That constitutes, from the Catholic Church's perspective, a sin of omission. It is clearly now the sin of omission is clearly discussed in the pastoral letter. It talks about individual, community, even church can sometimes be silent in the face of racial injustice, and that's what I mean by complicity. Church is guilty in a sin of omission by not saying anything, and the church has to say something in this case because the group that strongly favor exclusion of Chinese were the Irish Catholic. You have a group in your church, you are opposing this for selfish reason, and you don't say anything. That's what I mean by churches committed sin of omission. I think the church will agree with that. I mean, I don't think there'll be pushback on that. There's too many evidence to back that up. So that's one thing.
Let me just follow up really quickly. So in the pastoral letter, it has this category called sins of omission as applied to silence when there is racism. Your point is in 1882, there was this sin of omission because individual bishops did not protest against the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act. But I think I'm also hearing from you, this pastoral letter does not identify that sin of omission in the 19th century, correct?
This pastoral letter, it did not mention at all. That's correct. So
Yeah.
I'm mentioning it.
Exactly.
I'm pointing
This
it
is
out.
Joe's mentioning it. Yeah.
So I think it should be mentioned, and I think if you are any reasonable person, there should be and there should be no problem. The church has done a lot worse thing than that. So that's one thing. Another thing that surprised me is the way some of the victim of violent attack responded to the horrific incident. The one that stood out for me was Noah Quintana. He was I think 62-year-old Filipino on his way to work, took a New York subway train, and then the attacker boarded the train and targeted him and slashed his face with a box cutter. It was not a surface slash; it was deeply cut. He had over 100 stitches on his face, which are clearly visible. And what makes Quintana's case special is that he was able to do something godlike, in that he was able to forgive the man who attacked him. Something that most of us will repel at the thought of doing. Uh, so perhaps he was able to do that because he did not identify himself with the hurts and pain associated with being a victim of violent crime, even though the scar across his face is a vivid reminder of the horrific incident every time I look in the mirror. In other words, Quintana was able to forgive his attacker because he didn't allow what happened to him to be a defining point in his understanding of who he is. I think that's the key to forgiving people in a situation that's unforgivable. I think that Quintana helped me, realize that, give me a method to deal with situation that is very difficult to forgive.
Quintana is a person of faith, correct?
Yeah, he was a person of faith. In fact, when he was attacked, he was saying the rosary on the train. I think that's what he does. But the train, when it was packed on that day like it was, he was standing in the train saying the rosary. To me, Quintana demonstrated the cornerstone Catholic social teaching by living out the most unpalatable of Jesus' commandment, loving our enemy and forgiving the person who injured him. So that's a couple of things that just struck me.
That's really powerful, Joe. As you mentioned, Noel Quintana, I'm thinking of Russell and Tammy's video series, Transforming Hope. If
Mhm.
people, I'll include the link to Noel's video as part of the Transforming Hope project that Russell and Tammy spearheaded. It's a compelling video testimonial of our older Asian American brothers and sisters in the community and their suffering
Mhm.
of anti-Asian hate. My last question, and I think your story about Noel kind of leads us here. What do you want people to take away from the book?
Well, I'm thinking about that. As I suppose, it's very for me. It's very difficult to explain uh, how does it feel to be Asian American to those who are not part of the experience, because the pervasive and destructive stereotype that are part and parcel of Asian American experience can sometimes get to the level of subtleties. These stereotypes, I mentioned in my book in 3 different chapters: Petrol Foreigner, Yellow Peril, and Minority Myth. And those who are not part of the experience may be compelled to admit to hearing our story and our experiences with defective interior ear. But it's still important, nevertheless, important to tell our story and our experiences, even if few people are listening, because they are our gifts, deemed essential to what it means to be American in our country, essential to what it means to be religious in our particular religious community in our country. And these stories and experiences are some of the missing pieces necessary for the attainment of authentic justice uh, that cannot be achieved until all the stories and experiences of every racial ethnic group are included in the fabric of Americanness. I think that's what I want people to take away from the book in a nutshell.
That's a powerful word, Joe. I just want to thank you for writing this book. It sounds like a wonderful resource for Asian Americans in general and Asian American religious and Christian folks. And I want to thank you for sitting with this podcast to share your insights and wisdom and experience with our audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David, for inviting me to do this podcast.